Good morning. I know that little tug that says, just check, as if a friend were at the door with urgent news. And I know the low hum it leaves when you set the phone down, the heart's air vibrating with a thin, gray fear. We have all called it staying informed, being responsible, being awake to the world. And yet, if we are honest, there is a spell there, isn't there? A sweetness on the tongue and a sickness in the stomach. You refresh the feed, and the feed refreshes the fear. Now, you must understand this. We are not going to try to do anything to the feed. All we are going to do is bring to it what we have neglected to bring, the realization of God's presence. Let us name what we are dealing with very simply, very gently. This is not wicked people out there pulling levers. This is mass hypnotism, a mesmeric suggestion, whispering that the glow in your hand is your life, that the next headline is your breath, that the pulse of the crowd is the pulse of your own heart. How? Why? Because without a center, we permit any center to draft us. The screen says, look at me, I will tell you who you are. And we obey for a moment and forget. But remember what the Master said. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The world offers you a mold. Hypnotism says, this is reality. But who said that you are that? Who said that you are naked before the feed? This is not you. This is your attention. You are invisible, spirit. The question, then, is not how to unplug from life. We are not going to flee the world, abandon our neighbor, or stuff our ears with cotton. The question is, how do we break the news fear loop and yet live present, compassionate, responsive? And the answer, as always in this work, is not out there. We do not alter the stream. We realize the source. We do not argue with shadows. We turn on the light. You can be in it, but not of it. You can read, you can scroll, and you can remain unpossessed if you carry your center into the looking. So we take a password with us, not a charm, not a magic phrase, but a door that opens when it is truly spoken. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Say that softly within yourself before your thumb moves. Say it when the headline shouts. Say it when your stomach tightens. And do not let your concern be for the feed, good or bad, true or false. Let your concern be that in that very moment you feel that surging of the Spirit within you. Be still and know that I am God. Not tomorrow, not after you've sorted the facts, but now. If the Spirit is present, liberty is present. And if liberty is present, the loop is already severed without your lifting a mental sword. We are not going to try to get a calmer feed, a cleaner algorithm, a nicer world. When you say, I'm not trying to fix the feed, you have to mean it. We seek one demonstration only, the realization of God's presence. And here is the promise that will keep you with me from scroll to soul in 60 seconds. Not by doing anything to the feed, but by a simple pivot that withdraws your belief from the mesmerism and returns authority to the presence. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives you a drip of information and a draught of peace. Spirit gives peace first. And then, if you must look, you look from peace, and what you see cannot bind you. Treat the feed as you would a weather report. You can carry an umbrella without bowing to the storm. The hypnotism says, I am power. Truth says, thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. So this morning we greet the scroll the way we greet the sea. It has waves, it has motion, but it does not have law over you. We are not going to do anything to it. We will bring to our looking the felt awareness, the secret place within. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Hold that now, and the loop will not hold you. Now, let us be very clear. and very simple. The secret place is not a corner of your house, not a chair by a window, not a monastery on a hill. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And if that were a room, then, my friends, you could lose it when you walked out the door. But you do not lose it, because the secret place is a state of consciousness. It is the realized awareness of God as the only life, the only law, the only cause, and that can be known in a subway, in a meeting, with a phone in your hand, and the world shouting. When the Master said, "When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door," he did not mean boards and hinges. He meant shut the door of sense, shut the door of the crowd's breath in your lungs, and open inward to the one who already is. The kingdom of God is within you, not over there, not later. Within you now. I can tell you from my own stumbling that when this dawns, life is not abandoned, life is transfigured. I still lived, but not in the same atmosphere. The same streets, the same work, the same friends' names on the phone, and yet they could not follow me in there, and neither could I go back. Not because I became holy or stern, because something in consciousness shifted. The desire to rearrange outer things dropped off as naturally as a leaf falls when its season is over. And so, hear me, lasting freedom from the noosphere loop is not because you have curated a kinder feed, but because you have consented to a higher atmosphere God realized as presence here. Identity is the key that turns this lock. You look at your hand, you feel your chest rise when a headline shouts, and you say, "This is me, and this is my fear." But who told you that? Who said that thou art naked? This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible spirit. And by extension, this is not my life. This is my feed. It is a string of appearances moving on a screen. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Does not mean despise the earth. It means do not let the earth tell you who you are. When you know yourself as that which is looking, not what is looked at, you begin to feel the lift. You can be in it, but not of it. You can be informed, yet unformed by its fear. You can read, yet read only by the Spirit within you. Now, this is the first pillar in our work. Conditions obey consciousness. All of this is brought about by a change of consciousness. There is no other change necessary. Do not say, "I will have peace when the headlines are better," or "I will be faithful when the algorithm improves." No, peace will never be found by editing the shadows on the wall. Turn to the light. "My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth." And that means not by the world's sequence, not by fixing anything out there. The world says, "Manage me, and perhaps I will grant you a crumb of quiet." Spirit says, "Realize me first, and you will see the world for what it is. Passing weather under an untroubled sky." And because we keep our feet on the path, let me set the standard again so we do not deceive ourselves. You have no demonstration to make from this day onward except one, the realization of the presence of God. Do not let your concern be for health, for supply, for calmer news, for cleaner feeds. Let your concern be that in the moment of looking, you feel that surging of the Spirit within you. That is the demonstration. Outcomes, healing, guidance, right action, even right restraint are the shadows cast when the light is present. Seek the light. In Him we live and move and have our being, not in the scroll, not in the sentiment of the hour, not in the mood of the crowd. And so when I say you can be in it but not of it, I am not giving you a slogan to outshout the noise. I am pointing you to the secret place that is already yours, the awareness that cannot be terrified because it does not draw its life from headlines. Try it the very next time the thumb twitches. Before the movement, pause, whisper the password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And wait not for better news, but for the presence. When that breath rises from within, then look if you must, and you will discover that the feed has no jurisdiction over your soul. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore, we will not wrestle the stream. We will abide in the source. And abiding there, we find what the psalmist promised. Under the shadow of the Almighty, fear dissolves, and you walk out the same door into the same world, yet the world cannot find you, for you dwell in a different atmosphere. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now let us make this very plain and very practical, and let us do it in a way that your senses cannot miss. Take the device, yes, that one, humming softly with 1,000 borrowed breaths, and hold it as you might hold a letter from a friend. Do not fear it. Do not curse it. Do not flatter it. We are not going to try to do anything to it. All we are going to do is bring to this moment the realization of God's presence. So before the thumb moves, we pause, and with the pause, we whisper the password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Then listen carefully. We enact a handoff. If a loved one is near, place the phone in their hands. If you are alone, set it on a shelf, on the mantel, anywhere just beyond reach. And with your lips and your heart say, authority passes now to presence. Do you see what we are doing? We are not demonizing a piece of glass and code. We are withdrawing belief from a mesmeric claim that peace lives inside it. The device is not power. The feed is not law. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. This small, visible act is your confession that government is inward, that the secret place is your sanctuary and your throne, and that your peace does not bow to notifications, like the early disciples leaving their nets when the Master said, follow me. You are not burning the boats. You are changing captains. Make it a sacrament. Do it daily, even 2 or 3 times a day as an appointment with your own integrity. Let it be a sign act, a humble liturgy, reminding the mind to bow before the altar within. When the phone has passed from your hand or from your proximity, do not rush to fill the air with holy words. Be still, and know that I am God. Not the phone is God, not the news is God. I am. Close the eyes if you must, or simply soften them toward the floor. Let one breath rise without your managing it. Do not let your concern be for better headlines, calmer trends, pleasing updates. Let your concern be that in that very minute you feel that surging of the Spirit within you. That is the presence. That is the one demonstration. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. And now, as the inner government is felt even slightly, even as a whisper, you may take up the phone again, or you may leave it where it rests. But hear this. You will not take it up until you know who is governing whom. Peace is not in the phone. Peace governs the phone. If the Spirit is realized, authority has already shifted, and to whatever you look from liberty. If the Spirit has not yet stirred, then be honest with yourself and wait, for truth has no deadline and hypnotism has no law. This is not punishment, it is protection. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Abide first, act after. Some will say, but is this not childish, a ceremony? Oh, do not be fooled by that voice. The senses are trained by signs. We fasten the ring on a finger and call it marriage. We break bread and remember life. We wash with water and feel clean. A sacrament is a visible sign of invisible transfer. And this handoff states, for your own mind to hear, that dominion is spiritual. It says to the mesmerism, you are not cause. It says to your own heart, there is a higher center, and I consent to it. Try it this evening when the day's heat is collected in your skull. Try it in the morning before the world asks for you. Try it in a moment of panic when the rumor mill turns fast. Do not let your concern be to manage the world's mill. Let your concern be to enter your closet and shut the door. Shut the door to the claim that data is deity. Whisper the password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Hand the phone off and stand under the banner of that liberty until you can say with quiet certainty, authority passes now to presence, and mean it. Then and only then return to the stream if you must, and you will find that the water cannot carry you away, for you are anchored within the harbor of God. Now we must look gently, but without blinking, at how this thing works, because if you do not know the nature of the claim, you are apt to fight shadows or worship them. Behind all the discords of the world is hypnotism, mass suggestion, a collective breath that says, this is power, this is law, this is you. In the last war, they called it the Bureau of Propaganda. In this hour, they call it engagement algorithms. Different tools, same mesmerism of attention. Then they printed posters and played marching songs. Today they tune the stream to your pulse. Do not be shocked by that. It is neither holy nor unholy. It is simply the world's way of saying, look at me, and we are not going to try to do anything to it. All we are going to do is see it for what it is, a voice without authority in God, and bring to our looking the realization of God's presence. Some years back, they slipped a single frame into a film and watched the crowd crave a drink. Today, they do not need to hide the frame. They show you a headline at just the shade that wakes the old nerve. Danger, desire, belonging. A siren tone for fear, a sparkle for approval, a red dot for urgency, micro triggers that take the same little animal in us by the scruff and drag it to the trough. And you can almost hear the whisper, hurry. You are not safe until you know more. You are not loved until you are seen. You are not real until you react. But who said that? Who said that you are naked? Who told you that you are unsafe unless endlessly informed? That voice is not the Christ. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives you a steady drip of alarms and then sells you a blanket. Spirit gives peace, and in that peace the alarm has no hook to fasten on. Now watch how the feed selects its idols. It will place before you 3 altars: the body, the money, the clout. Tend these or perish. A new study to fear your breath, a graph to fear your bread, a scoreboard to fear your standing. And here again you must answer from within, this is not me, this is my body. I am invisible. Spirit, this is not my life, this is my purse. Life is not coin, this is not my value, this is my name in the marketplace. Take no thought for your life. What ye shall eat is not irresponsibility. It is emancipation from servitude to objects. Body, money, clout, none possess power. Only hypnotic belief lends them terror. Withdraw the belief and the idol is stone again. Like 2 times 2 equaling 5, it can agitate the beginner, but it has no law. Once you see the error, you do not argue with it for an hour, you stop believing it. So I say to you, do not try to fix the news. Do not crusade to cleanse the stream so that it will finally grant you tranquility. That is like polishing the mirror to find youth. Polishing is well if you must see clearly, but do not mistake the reflection for your life. Treat the news fear loop as hypnotism, not as a power to be wrestled. Unmask the spell and withdraw belief. When the headline shouts, hear within you the higher law, thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. When the notification taps your wrist like a little priest of panic, answer it with your password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Then be still. Do not let your concern be to argue with content or to compose a finer reply. Let your concern be to feel that surging of the Spirit within you. Once that stirs, the hook falls out of your skin. You may read or not read, act or refrain, but you are no longer drafted by the drum. And if you wonder, but isn't some of it true? Aren't there real dangers? Of course, the weather is the weather. You can carry an umbrella without worshiping the cloud. We are not advocating ignorance. We are advocating non-hypnosis. You can be in it, but not of it. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewed mind means the feed is not cause, God is cause. The feed is not law, Spirit is law. The feed is not life, life is within you. Hold to that, not grimly, but with a calm certainty that error has no statute to compel you. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, and liberty is the end of mesmerism, not by smashing the mirror, but by waking from the dream that the mirror owns your face. Now we come to the heart, and I must say it plainly so that your mind cannot wiggle away into a side street. You have one demonstration to make, and one only, the realization of the presence of God. And for this we carry a shibboleth, a password that is not a charm, not a string of syllables, but a key that turns when the heart consents. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Take that as you would your breath. Carry it as you carry your own name. Whisper it before the thumb moves. Whisper it when the headline lifts its voice. Whisper it after you have read and the echo of fear tries to make a home in your chest. Not to force a change in the outside, but to remember the inside that never changes. Be still and know that I am God. Do not let your concern be for calmer headlines. Do not let your concern be for a milder algorithm. Do not let your concern be for relief from the nervous flutter. Let your concern be that in the instant of remembering, you feel even slightly that inner quickening, that soft turn of awareness from effect to cause. We are not going to try to do anything to the feed. We are not going to try to do anything to the anxiety. We are not going to try to do anything to the algorithm or to your pulse. We seek only to realize presence. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. When you say, I'm not trying to get a quieter world, you have to mean it. If you sneak a glance to see if the storm has subsided, you have missed the boat. The boat is the presence. And here is the simple ethos of method. One slow breath, the password, and a soft waiting. One slow, unforced breath. Do not make a project of the lungs. Let it arrive. Whisper within, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And then wait, not pushing, not bargaining, not counting. Wait for the slightest inward ease, a feather's weight of release, a loosening in the grip that says, I am turning toward the source. Sometimes it is a warmth in the chest. Sometimes it is only a sense that the urgency is no longer your captain. That is enough. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Not do, not wrestle, stand still. If it comes in 2 seconds, good. If it takes 60, good. Truth has no deadline. Hypnotism has no law. Because liberty precedes conditions. Understand this order, or you will keep trying to rearrange shadows. Presence first, and then watch how outward engagement of itself reconfigures. You will discover that the same article does not bite as it did a moment ago. The same stream flows, and yet you are not swept because your feet are anchored in the floor of spirit. You can be in it, but not of it. You will find the choices appear without strain. You scroll for a moment, and then without self-scolding, you set it down. Or you read what needs reading and feel no compulsion to keep drinking the salt water. Thou couldst have no power at all against me except it were given thee from above. When the above is realized, the below loses its tooth. Now, do not let the old appetite dress itself up in holy words. The password is not a lever to pry a result from God. It is the way you yield to God. If there is no felt ease in that minute, be honest and wait without self-violence. You are not failing. You are refusing to bow to a clock. You are establishing the non-negotiable. I choose presence over outcome, God over relief, sick or well, rich or poor, storm or calm, praise or blame. I am determined that the object of my life is spiritual awareness. Give up gratitude for a quieter headline and be grateful only that the spirit is stirring, whether felt as a breeze or as stillness beyond sensation. Then, and only then, re-engage if you must, and you will discover that liberty was there before the facts arranged themselves. And because liberty was there, the facts have no jurisdiction over your peace. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Carry it as breath, live it as practice, and the loop unhooks without a fight. Now, here is the way, simple enough that you can practice it a dozen times a day without strain. We are not going to try to do anything to the feed. We are going to shift government 3 moves, 1 minute, and the center returns to its throne. First, pause. Catch the swipe mid-birth. Feel the thumb gathering itself like a runner on the block. Stop it there. Even one heartbeat between impulse and action breaks the drumbeat of the spell. Who told you that your thumb is your master? Be still and know that I am God. Let one breath arrive unforced. Listen inward as if you were waiting for a friend behind a door. That single, honest heartbeat of non-compliance says to the mesmerism, you are not law. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Not strain. Stand. Second password. In that heartbeat, speak within, not loudly, not to convince God, but to let your own mind hear whom you serve. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. This is not a charm. It is a doorway, and doors do not open to a passerby who is peeking for bargains. When you say, I am not trying to get calmer, you have to mean it. You want God more than relief. Sick or well, quiet news or clanging alarms, you are saying, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives you a pill of pacification and calls it peace. Spirit gives presence, and in presence, peace is not an effect, it is being. So let that sentence be your shibboleth, your pass into the inner court, not to fix the feed, not to soften the headline, but to consent to God. Third, presence. Having paused and given the password, do not leap to manage anything. Sit without fixing. Wait not long, not with a stopwatch ticking in fear, but long enough to feel the inner surging, however slight, a soft loosening in the chest, a lifting of the urgency, a warmth, or even the bare sense that the driver's hands are no longer on your back. That is the sign. Rest there for 60 seconds. From scroll to soul in 60 seconds, honor it. If it helps your integrity, set a gentle timer, a soft bell on your watch, on a small kitchen timer, even on the phone in Do Not Disturb, and let the chime be a witness that you are honoring the interval, not rushing through to get back. Truth has no deadline. Hypnotism has no law. Do not let your concern be whether the world has cooled. Let your concern be that you are drinking from the spring and not from the hose. If you like a picture, think of it as a minute divided by grace. 10 seconds to halt the thumb and breathe. 10 to whisper the password and mean it. 40 to do nothing but abide in stillness, in that subtle rising of life that is not of your making. And if in those 40 seconds nothing sensational happens, do not accuse yourself. You are not auditioning for fireworks. You are consenting to presence. Sometimes the sea calms to glass. Sometimes the wind eases only a notch. Either is enough. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. When the above is tasted, even faintly, the below finds no purchase. Now here is the integrity clause that keeps this whole practice clean. You must not glance sideways to see if the headline lost its bark. You must not secretly hope that your minute brought you quieter nerves. Give up gratitude for a calmer sensation and be grateful only that you have truly turned toward God. Want God more than relief. If you cannot yet say that honestly, sit one heartbeat longer until you can. Then, and only then, re-engage if you must, and you will notice something that cannot be faked. Authority has moved. The phone is not your captor. The feed is not your captain. You can be in it, but not of it. And because you have stood still within and felt that surging, the loop is cut where it lives in belief. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Carry that minute like a key in your palm and use it often. A reliable 60-second pivot returns you again and again to the secret place where government is God. Now we must face a thing that none of us like to see when the light first falls on it. We protest that we want God, that we are after the secret place, that we are students of spirit. But let the phone give a little mercy, 3 fewer alerts this morning, a softer headline, and immediately we breathe out and call it answered prayer. Do not be fooled by that. That is not seeking God, that is seeking anesthesia. When you say, I am not trying to get well, you have to mean it. In this case, when you say, I am not trying to get fewer alerts, not trying to get a nicer algorithm, not trying to get my nerves stroked, you have to mean it. Otherwise, you are practicing metaphysics as a technique to soothe appetite, and appetite will drive you in circles until you are too tired to remember your own name. Man shall not live by bread alone, nor by likes, nor by the lull after a storm. We live by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God, that inner word which is presence realized. So let us lay it down, and lay it down clean. Give up gratitude for a quieted pulse, for better sleep, for a week without panic, for a rising follower count, for the pat on the head that comes when your post lands just so. Give up gratitude for any of it. Be grateful for God alone. Do not let your concern be for calmer nerves. Let your concern be that you feel the surging of the Spirit within you. Do not let your concern be for cleaner feeds. Let your concern be the realized presence that renders the feed a shadow on the wall. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added not as bargaining chips, not as rewards added, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And liberty expresses itself in 1,000 harmless ways the world calls improvement. But you are not after improvement, you are after God. Make it a vow, a sentence so clear the heart cannot wiggle. Sick or well, friending or ignored, praised or blamed, anxious or easeful, my object is spiritual awareness. Write it where you can see it. Say it when your thumb twitches. Say it when your chest flutters at a siren headline. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. And so we will not measure our progress by the world's thermometer. You can be in it but not of it, and the proof that you are in the secret place is not that the noise stops, but that government has changed hands within you. If the quiet comes and you clap for the quiet, you have bowed to an idol. If the quiet comes and you bless God, and should the quiet not come and you still bless God, then you have entered integrity. I can witness, not as one who found a trick, but as one who stumbled and was found, that when consciousness changes, tastes change. There was a day when the itch to check had a certain savor, like a sweet sour on the tongue. And then, without white-knuckle vows, without heroics, the taste altered. I still lived, but not in the same atmosphere. The same device on the table, the same names in the stream, and yet they could not follow me in there, neither could I go back. The leaf fell because the season was over. You will discover the same. Not a battle of will, but the simple disinterest that comes when the center has shifted. The thumb pauses of itself, the mind does not bargain, you forget to react. That is not virtue, that is the nature of different air. And here is the paradox that no appetite can swallow, but every heart recognizes once tasted. By not chasing outcomes, you receive what outcomes pretend to offer, not as the world giveth. Not the peace that arrives because all the dials read green, but the peace that stands when the dials quarrel among themselves and have no power. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. When the above is known, even faintly, the below cannot command worship. Sometimes sleep sweetens, yes. Sometimes the graph levels, yes. Sometimes the alerts fall silent, yes. But you will not bow to the effects. You will bow to God. And because you will not trade your soul for a quiet minute, the quiet minute is no longer necessary to prove that you are free. So leave your nets, not merely the fisherman's ropes of old, but the nets that count and catch your worth in this hour. Leave the net of results, the mesh of how am I doing, and follow me. Follow the inner Christ by one simple standard. Choose God over relief. If you cannot yet say it cleanly, sit one heartbeat longer until you can. Then rise and walk in the same world with a different weather within you, and you will find that integrity, not appetite, opens the door that never shuts. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Discipline now becomes love in practice. And it must be simple enough that you will do it not once in a flush of zeal, but again and again until the senses learn a new home. Set your rhythm. At least 3 times a day, morning, midday, evening, sit in quietness until you feel that gentle surge of the Spirit, that inward yes which says, government is God. Do not make the appointment with a clock as your master, but with fidelity as your friend. We are not going to try to do anything to the feed. We are going to keep an appointment with presence. Be still and know that I am God. Sit on the edge of your bed, in a favorite chair, even on a bench in the park, and let your only concern be that you feel, even slightly, that surging within. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Begin small and be faithful. 60 seconds is honorable if it is honest. Then 2 minutes, then 5, not as an ordeal, not as a badge, but as a natural lengthening of your stay in the atmosphere of God. Constancy over length, fidelity over fireworks. Do not count success by how long you sat or how blank your mind became. Truth has no deadline. Hypnotism has no law. Some appointments will feel like sunlight on your face. Others will feel like waiting in a quiet room where nothing announces itself. In either case, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. You are not clocking serenity. You are consenting to presence. Keep the hour or the minute and let it be enough. Now, about thoughts. Headlines will climb the fence of your quiet like neighborhood cats. Let them. Your task is not to chase them with a broom. Let them pass like clouds drifting across a still lake. Do not rebut. Do not rehearse. Do not bargain. If a siren word rises war, virus, scandal, answer it only with your password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, and return to resting. Take no thought for your life does not mean neglect your duties. It means refuse to serve thoughts as gods. 2 times 2 equaling 5 does not require a debate. It requires seeing. When you find yourself arguing a headline in your head, smile and say, who told you that you are naked? Then be still again. We are not improving the thought stream. we are abiding in the streamless life that witnesses thought coming and going without authority. Help your senses by building cues that say to the body, now we yield. Choose a chair that becomes your little altar, not by superstition, but by repetition. Sit the same way, perhaps both feet on the floor, hands open on the thighs, eyes softly lowered. One slow, unforced breath. Whisper the shibboleth not loudly, not to convince God, but to let your mind hear whom you serve. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. If you like, set a gentle bell to mark 60 seconds, then 90, then 120. A shawl over the shoulders, a small candle, or simply the act of closing the door. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, these are not magic, they are training. You are conditioning the nervous system to recognize the secret place as familiar ground. The body learns, the senses yield, the heart remembers the way home. Keep a small record, not a report card. One line after each appointment, no prose, no verdicts. Right, I felt liberty here, or I waited in faith, or password given, I abided, and leave it. Record presence, not performance. Do not write, I did great, or I failed today, because there is no grading in God. Sometimes the only honest line is, I sat in dryness and would not move. And that is holy, because integrity counts more than sensation. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Your journal becomes a string of witnesses, little Ebenezer stones that say, God met me, or I stayed for God though nothing moved. And now hear the promise tied to discipline. If you keep the appointments quietly, steadily, without bargaining, your senses will learn liberty. You will discover that at noon, before the world's heat takes you, there is a refuge already warmed from the morning's visit. You will notice that the evening does not own your mind because you have already laid it down and picked it up under a higher government. The phone will ring, the feed will flow, and you can be in it but not of its fear because you have trained your ear to hear another voice. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Dwell daily, even briefly, and the shadow becomes your climate. Keep the appointments. Do not let your concern be for results. Let your concern be to feel that inner surging, however slight. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, and steady, simple practice teaches your very senses to recognize that liberty when it stirs, and to bow to it when it rules. Now comes the honest test of what you have been tasting in the quiet. The door opens and you step back into the same house, the same desk, the same little slab of glass, waiting with its priesthood of pings. Do not slip into it as a man slips into old shoes. Take it up deliberately, as you would receive a chalice from an altar. Put your hand on the phone and say within, softly, but as one who knows his king, presence governs my seeing. We are not going to try to do anything to the feed. We are going to bring the realization of God's presence to our looking. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Carry that at the threshold. Now begin from center. Do not hurl yourself down the current. Scan as if you were walking through a garden, not sprinting past a barricade, one headline at a time, eyes awake, breath unforced. Notice honestly if the old nerve begins to signal, if the breath shortens, if there is a small clench in the gut, that little uh-oh that says hurry, belong, defend. That is your cue, not to argue with content, not to denounce the world, but to pivot home immediately. Pause, password, presence. 60 seconds. Whisper within, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And wait for that featherweight easing that tells you authority has returned to its rightful house. Then, if you must, continue. If not, set it down. You can be in it, but not of its fear. Every alert that taps your wrist, every red dot that winks like a false star, you answer with the shield Christ wore before Pilate. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Say it, not as defiance to a tyrant, but as remembrance to your own heart. Who gives power? Not the feed, not the market, not the rumor. Above gives power. And above, realized even slightly, is peace itself. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives a lull between alarms and calls it peace. The Spirit gives presence, and alarms find nothing to fasten on. From that center, discernment becomes simple, and it is astonishing how quiet true action sounds. Something in the scroll genuinely calls for you, not your agitation, but you. Then act like a man who knows his orders. Write if a clear word is given to write. Give if you are moved to give money, time, a listening ear. Call if a brother's voice rises in your heart and will not be put aside. Do the needed thing, and then lay down the remainder without shame or second guessing. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. We are not dodging responsibility. We are refusing to serve panic as God. Do not let your concern be to chase every tremor. Let your concern be to remain in the realized presence while you take the one step that is yours. And now lay down some nets. This is not asceticism. This is obedience to inner government. Muting is not fear, it is fidelity. Turn off the temple bells that have no priest behind them, non-essential notifications that draft your attention without authority. Unsubscribe where you cannot remain centered. Unfollow the voices that train you to live on a diet of dread or applause. You are not proving holiness by reducing noise. You are acknowledging who governs your court. If the Spirit within says, silence this, silence it. If it says, keep this, you can be in but not of, keep it. My sheep hear my voice. Hear and do that, and then cease. You will find that engagement under this government is curiously sober and curiously free. You will read what you must, answer what you must, and leave the rest to God without the aftertaste of guilt or the itch to return 5 minutes later for another sip of salt water. If the fear spikes again, good, you have not failed. You have been reminded to come home. Pause, password, presence. Again and again until the road is worn, and then again, because truth has no deadline and hypnotism has no law. In this way, you learn to walk the same streets, use the same tools, sit at the same desk while living in a different atmosphere. Engage responsibly, not reactively. Let presence govern your attention and your action. And because you let it govern, you will discover that even your seeing has changed. The feed ceases to be a master and becomes at most a messenger that delivers what is yours and passes by with the rest. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Carry that liberty into your glance, into your click, into your word, and you will be in the feed, but not of its fear. And now, since we live as learners, let us be honest about what will happen on some morning. You will wake to the glow on the nightstand, and yes, discover your thumb half swipe into the stream before the mind has even put on its shoes. Smile at it. Do not indulge the old preacher of self-reproach. A just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again. Rise without drama, without vows. We are not going to try to do anything to the feed. We are going to return government to presence. Immediate mercy is your way home. Set the phone down. Or if you have trained with the handoff sacrament, place it in another's palm for 60 seconds as if you were returning a chalice to the altar. Whisper within, quietly, but as one who remembers his past. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Then be still 1 minute only, and let it be clean. Pause, password, presence. Be still and know that I am God. Not to punish the thumb, not to promise I'll never do that again, only to let the inner ease, even a featherweight of it, rise and say, home. Truth has no deadline. Hypnotism has no law. Understand the nature of the slip, or you will give it substance it does not possess. 2 times 2 equaling 5 can be written with perfect penmanship and red ink and a ruler straight underline, and still it has no law. So it is with fear that gallops up out of the feed. It seems urgent. It shouts. It gathers friends. And still, in the light of realized presence, it has no authority. Who told thee that thou wast naked? Asks the voice. Who told you that a swipe could exile you from God? No such law exists. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. And above, once realized even for 60 seconds, unmasks the bluff. Do not let your concern be to analyze the trigger or rehearse how badly you did. Let your concern be that you turn and feel that inner surging again. If you find that your own will wobbles, enlist the holiness of companionship. Make a simple covenant with a spouse, a friend, even a child. At the first sign of the old spell, you will hand off the device, and both of you will keep a shared minute. No lectures, no rolling eyes, just a quiet pass and the password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Say it together or say nothing, and stand in it together. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Shared integrity strengthens resolve, and you will be surprised how tenderly this works when it is freed from scolding and bound to sacred routine. The visible sacrament of transfer enacts the invisible truth. Peace is not in the phone. Peace governs the phone. Then record the return. Not a report of abstinence hours, not a victory graph, not a medal pinned to the chest. 1 line only in your little ledger. Slipped, paused, felt liberty, or password given, inner ease returned, or even waited dry, but would not move until centered. Celebrate not the gap in scrolling, but the instant of realized presence. Give up gratitude for abstinence. Be grateful for God. Do not let your concern be for how long you stayed away. Let your concern be the moment you felt the Spirit's gentle governance reseated within. That is your Ebenezer, your stone of help, not because you managed your behavior, but because you witnessed again that Spirit is here. If later in the day you find yourself halfway down the stream again, do not add a second error by despair. Pivot as many times as it takes. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand for 60 seconds, then act from center or set it down, either as holy if governed by presence. You can be in it but not of it, even in mid-swipe. At any moment you can turn, because error has no law. Mass fear is a trance, not a power. The password is not a trick. It is your consent. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Carry that sentence like breath. Offer it at the very place you discover yourself fallen, and rise not by force, not by oath, but by the quiet right of a son or daughter returning to the house that was never closed. Hypnotism has no law. Truth has no deadline. Home is 1 minute away. Now let the circle widen. The secret place is not a hiding corner you visit and then bar against the world. It is an atmosphere that once known travels with you and settles, like a quiet dew, over whatever ground you occupy, household, workplace, city, We are not going to try to do anything to the people or to the programs or to the policies. We are going to bring the realization of God's presence to our living among them. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Radiate silently, and you will see that rooms remember. Begin at home. Make your screens into altars. Before family news hour, do not rush the click. Let one breath arrive unforced. Place the remote or the phone in the center of the table for a heartbeat, not as a totem, but as an outward witness to an inward government. And within you say, quietly, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Presence first, content second. Enter into thy closet, not by leaving the room, but by closing the door of appetite within. If there are children, let it be simple, a soft moment, a hand resting, a whisper. We remember God first. Do not let your concern be to persuade your spouse or train your teenagers. Let your concern be that you feel the surging of the Spirit within you before one image crosses your eyes. That is enough. Authority will have changed hands in the room without a word. As stories of suffering arise, practice the silent benediction. Pause, no fixing, no hot takes. Let compassion flow from stillness, not from nerves. When a hard image appears, lift your inner eyes as the Master did. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. In your heart say peace, be still. Not as a spell cast at the screen, but as fidelity to the presence you are already feeling. Cast thy burden upon the Lord. Do not let your concern be to argue the merits. Let your concern be to abide until the tightness eases, and love, actual love, not sentiment, stands up in you. That love may move you to a call, to a gift, to a vote even, but it will not move you to scorn. You can be in it, but not of it. For my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Carry the same hygiene into your work. Between tasks, make micro pivots, 5 seconds to breathe, 5 to give the password, and then begin. Before you open the inbox, be still and know that I am God. Before the meeting joins, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. In the heat of a decision, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Do this and you will become, without effort and without advertisement, the non-anxious presence the room leans on. The same agenda will arrive, the same deadlines, and yet you will not serve them as God. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. When above is felt, even slightly, the below stops barking and starts being handled. Now, do not go out to proselytize, go out to live. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Fishermen do not argue the fish into the net. They cast from quiet waters. Your peace will invite questions. Someone will say, why don't you jump? Answer with simplicity and practice, not debate. Say, before I act, I pause a moment, or I take a breath and remember, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. If they ask for more, give them the minute, pause, password, presence. If they hunger only for argument, leave your nets, leave the mesh of proving and persuading, and be still. My sheep hear my voice. Those who are ready will hear a tone in your calm that cannot be counted. Finally, lift your eyes beyond banners and blocks to the household of God. We are not red, white, and blue first, nor any faction's colors first. We are one in Christ Jesus. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God. Let that underwrite your seeing on the train, at the market, in the council chamber, neither Jew nor Greek, neither management nor labor, neither your team nor mine, but brethren, one life. Let your light so shine before men, not glare, Shine that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Blessed are the peacemakers. They shall be called the children of God. This does not mean weakness. It means you refuse the hypnotism that divides, and you stand in the presence that already unites. And where you stand in that presence, the atmosphere changes. The child in the house rests. The meeting unwinds. The neighborhood softens. Not because you have conquered anything, but because the secret place has extended its border as naturally as dawn extends light. Radiate silently. Keep the inner appointment in the kitchen, at the desk, on the sidewalk. Do not let your concern be to fix the city. Let your concern be to carry the password into every threshold. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, until thresholds themselves begin to remember. In this way, the secret place ceases to be private devotions and becomes a shared climate wherever you stand, household, workplace, city, because the kingdom of God is within you, and when within governs, without bears witness. Before we part, let us keep a simple minute together, not as a ceremony, but as the very seal on what we have heard. Sit as you are. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw soften. Take one unforced breath. Close the inner door. Enter into thy closet. And when thou hast shut thy door, and whisper within, not to be heard by anyone, not even to persuade yourself, but as one who recognizes his own pass at the gate where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now wait. Not for fireworks, not for a sign. Wait for a featherweight of ease, the little inward nod that says, I am here. Be still and know that I am God. If all you have is the quiet and the password, that is holy ground. We are not going to try to do anything to it, the feed, the body, the city. We are going to realize presence. That is our one demonstration again and again. Let the vow be heard now within you, where vows are made and kept. I will not measure this path by calmer headlines, fewer alerts, kinder comments. I will not barter soul for quiet weather. I give up gratitude for smoother feeds, for a good day's metrics, for a lull that flatters my nerves. I will be grateful for God alone. Do not let your concern be for better conditions. Let your concern be that you feel, however slightly, that surging of the Spirit within you. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Dwell now, even for 60 seconds, and the shadow will follow you out the door. And now, the going forth. You will rise, and the same world will greet you. Do not hurry. Take the phone, the inbox, the street, as a chalice received from an altar. If the current tugs do not fight it, pivot, pause, password, presence, in a queue, at the stove, at a red light, as your thumb hovers 60 clean seconds, whisper, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, and wait until government returns to God. If the tug persists, do it again. Truth has no deadline. Hypnotism has no law. Use the handoff if you need it. Place the device into another's palm for 1 minute as an outward sign of an inward transfer. Peace is not in the phone. Peace governs the phone. Then go about your task as one who is in it, but not of its fear. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Carry this practice like breath. Before you look, remember. While you look, remain. After you look, release. No vows about tomorrow, only fidelity in the next minute. If a need appears, act from center and lay the rest on the altar. If no act is given, be still and let love hold what you cannot. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Do not let your concern be to manage outcomes. Let your concern be to abide until you can feel the inner rightness rise. That is the sign of government. Hear the promise as we close, not as poetry, but as present fact. My peace I give unto you, Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not as the scroll gives a lull between alarms, but as Spirit gives, presence, already here. Liberty is not tomorrow's prize. Liberty is present now. Take it with you, quietly, steadily, as a shibboleth in every doorway. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Carry the password and the practice into every glance at the world. Pause, speak, wait, and let your life become the benediction your lips need not announce. The Lord bless thee and keep thee in that secret place. Thank you.